personal when you are talking about a public figure. Please, let's be honest. If you're talking about somebody's homestead, you are personal, but you can't be personal when you're discussing William Ruto. You can't be personal when you're discussing Raila Odinga or Barack Obama or Donald Trump. These are public figures. How can you be personal? Morara describes himself as, I don't know, president of Inject Party or something. What is that? How is he a personal? How is it being personal when you discuss him? I didn't even mention his name. How is that personal? It's not. It's not. So if you want people not to discuss you, don't get into the public realm. Then you can lay claim to privacy. I don't represent anybody. I don't lead any political party. I'm not a cabinet minister. I just do my own business. Why are you discussing me? But you can't be personal when you're discussing public figures. We discuss them even long after they've died, don't we? Because of the actions they did, the decisions they make, they still affect us long after they're dead. We mention them. We mention their names. So Joe should not be apologetic about that. It's imperative to name names when you're discussing state affairs, because those state affairs are presided over by individuals, and those individuals have got names. Pepita, the real Joe is being very magnanimous. I'm not magnanimous, really, Pepita. What I could say is that anybody who is following Morara is headed into oblivion, frankly speaking. Can you imagine Morara if he represents you? Morara in a room with William Ruto discussing and negotiating on your behalf. Can you trust somebody like that? No, this is a person who is leading your party. There is a crisis after election, so you say go to that room and discuss with William Ruto. What deal is he going to extract on your behalf? No, you tell me, what deal? He's going to throw you under the bus. He's going to sell you short. And therefore, if people are defending Morara, I think we talk about civic education going to mashinani. I think they stand in need of civic education. They do. It's not those mashinani people. Morara, you don't have to really wrap your head. Just reading the things he writes, what he says, he has no leadership qualities. He doesn't have what it takes to really take on these very formidable forces that are ranged against us. He doesn't have. He's very narcissistic. He's very puerile. He's very erratic. That kind of a person, how can they lead you? They can't. And we consistently call out William Ruto, call out Raila Odinga, call out all sorts of people. You expect us to tiptoe and walk on eggshells when it comes to Morala? It doesn't make sense, really. Come on. It's not going to work. We call out all and sundry, irrespective of your station in life. And then Morala will not be an exception. So we must minimize sycophancy when we are handling these people. Just get rid of sycophancy. Hold these people accountable. Ask them all the questions that you can. That's when we can pride ourselves as working for a Kenya that will be for the benefit of all. But when you put some people on the pedestal, these are holy cows. These ones are beyond reproach. You are oozing negative energy. Come on. We'll not be scared. And we cannot hold other people accountable to high standards when we cannot hold ourselves to high standards. It doesn't make sense. That's being childish, and we are not children. Thank you, Pepita.
Hey, Jamani. Sasa ni hivi tutaenda. DK Gift, I saw your hand up. Sijui kama uko na kitu ya kusema kwanza kabla before I go on.
No, just go on. I'll come after you.
So, let me hear from Justice for All. Why were you waving like that heavily?
No, because I think it's becoming a misleading contest, which I feel we need to bring to order. Yes, Kibaki fired Ruto. Of course, I know where the confusion comes in is because, of course, those of us who found us from the time of the referendum, there's a time Raila tried to fire Ruto, and then of course was told he was in the authority. But after the court ruled that there was he had a case to answer of fraud from the as a high education minister, he was fired. So that information is accurate that he was fired. by Kibaki. The route was filed by Kibaki. The other point that I wanted to contribute on, and as my last point, PP, is that indeed there is a need for some level of structure. In whatever form it takes, even if it doesn't take leadership at the moment, there's a way to start having a structure, and that gives a direction. Like now, what the likes of the Real Joe are doing in terms of petitions and everything. How do we come in? And one of the other things that I've always tried to push for, and it doesn't have to be through your platform. Someone else's platform can come in on how maybe some people who may not be boots on the ground, how can they even resource-wise contribute? Because as the movement starts forming, I think it's important to start thinking. It doesn't have to be executed right away. That's probably one I'll propose. I disagree quite a bit with Western on the stand about Morara. Is not a public figure, doesn't hold public office. I think it's something that is forming, and there are different people that are trying to come up now, trying to find. Once we make it a subject of discussion, I think it's becoming distracting. I don't think anybody is asking us to follow them or to join them in a way of like, join us for me to lead you. It's not holding in.
Ngoja wewe, what do you mean nobody is asking you to join him? He has a party which people will have to join. He's asking for people to give him money. He is telling people to go to him to Narok. So what do you mean nobody? He has already positioned himself as a leader, so you cannot be a leader and not a leader. You get it? Come on, Bana.
Okay, I raised that case over there. I don't want to discuss that because I just raised that case over there. Anyway, so my final word is that indeed we will, as things start forming, people can start their own ways, especially those who are who are lawyers and they're trying to either put petitions. How can we come in? I think that kind of education will help us. Those who are trying to do other things that support the movement without necessarily causing division, I think it's critical for us to other people to start partnering. And even if it's not like you are joining those people, but what value can somebody bring in? So in that way, it could be through expertise, it could be through funds, could be through other forms of resource, so that we can support the movement to continue moving. Because it will take a while before all this starts merging and coming together into something. So for me, the way I'm seeing these different leaders who are holding, whether it's spaces and all that, I think they are running something, but they haven't merged yet to get to a point now we have a common goal to start saying now who is then going to lead us in this kind of joint movement. But I think now there are small movements here and there, and they're all doing an excellent work in terms of civic education and all that. All right, I apologize for misleading you on my prior statement. I think then that's inaccurate. My interpretation was wrong. So
I think we need to say this, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot be a leader and not a leader. If you show yourself up. I remember they were fighting about the name Kenya ni Home. Remember? Kenya ni Home. And the reason why is because one of Morara had already branded himself what? Okay, good. He had said yeye ni president. So huwezi kuwa president na wewe si president. Tuelewane wadau. Tusikuwa watu wenye Western Shilawa amesema. Ukikuwa emotional, ukikuwa fanatic, una end up kukua kama majamaa wa ODM. Na mnaona venye walifanya. They don't think when Baba says jump, they jump first. Unaona? Wale wenye walikuwa pale hivi. Do you see what they are doing? That is how it starts. And I know of people who have even stopped listening to Home Run Pipi because we asked Morara, umekusanya pesa yote. So tuonyeshe venye unatumia pesa. And I was bashed. Anyway, nilitukana hadi na anko yangu. Nishazoea. Isaac.
Yes, thank you so much, Pipita. And I 100% agree with you. I have a class in the next few minutes, so allow me to throw in my 50 cents, if not 10 cents. Number one, I think Kenyans, we are a problem of our own, right? And I would like to throw in my sense of His Excellency. I don't want to say former Deputy President, because I'm just confused when I woke up this morning to realize that things were done overnight and they've changed all of a sudden. So I still see him as the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. You know, when Uhuru, not Uhuru Kenyatta, but when Ruto was actually appointing the Deputy President, His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, he still had a case. And if you guys remember very well, he was acquitted by the Anti-Corruption Commission. And this case was even in court and he was actually convicted. But now you see, at that point, no one actually saw that, you know, as a way of, having a state officer getting into office when he has not actually been cleared of, corruption and so forth. And he became the Deputy President. But now, people can now start seeing, he was not fit for office because of, whatever has happened and what the proceedings we've seen both in the House of Commons and the Senate as well. So as things are evolving, we see how we are corrupting even our own constitution that we need to hold as sovereign, the constitution that guide our proceedings and, how we elect our leaders and how they come to office. So you can see we become a problem. We become a stumbling block we don't let the constitution be the constitution, right? If I may drive you to maybe our constitution going back, I think it should be chapter 137 under the qualification and disqualifications for election as president. Part 2 of B says when you're trying to nominate a presidential candidate, and in that case by extension deputy president, because they become as a unit, they work as a unit, right? He should not be holding public office, and I'm open for legal interpretation of this. I'm not a lawyer, and if we have lawyers in the house, they can tell me this guy should not be a public officer. Kindiki is a public officer, so I'm wondering, how is he going to be appointed when he has not actually retired? Me since I woke up this morning to realize that he's the person being fronted to be replace Gachagua. So you can see how we are mutilating our constitution without necessarily following it to the ladder. And I know we're gonna have like different interpretation of this, but I can see we are maiming our own constitution. We are mutilating, and the word is mutilating our own constitution to fit our own interests. And that's where the problem is coming in. So, guys, here's the thing. When you become a leader, and I want to throw in something that now has come up with Morara. I was one of the critics of Morara right away from the beginning. And I saw business in what Morara is doing. To me, Morara is an opportunistic. In fact, I will even advocate for Eric Omondi, because I've seen what Eric Omondi has been doing. I've seen even the money he collects, what he does with that particular money. I've not seen what Morara has done with the money he's collecting. I have not seen accountability for his money. Morara is someone who is very opportunistic, and he's seeking maybe offices in the future, and is just collecting money from gullible Kenyans. And these are people we call opportunists. They take advantage of the situation. So with the Gen Z, when it began, these are people who jumped in on the bandwagon, and they want to capitalize on that. And I'm not buying into any bullshit. I'm sorry, Pepita, to use this on your space. I'm not buying into this bullshit of Morara collecting money, saying that now I need a computer, now I need to go to Narok, please collect, and we don't know how many millions he's receiving from this without really advocating for it. I'm not going for that. This is my proposal, because some people say, you're saying this and you don't have a solution. This is what I said in the space that I think that was being hosted by Miguna last week. This is what I say. We need to have for us to be organized, and the thing of leaderless, I think we need leaders, and this is one way we can actually have leaders to avoid maybe personal interests that maybe are not accountable. The likes of Morara, we need to have sort of like a panel. We need to have like a sort of like a trust fund whereby we can even employ people. We can employ accountants. When we throw in this money, even when we're getting money from diaspora, we need to have a trust fund where this money go, and we have a panel or a committee that actually govern these funds, and we can see the money coming in and the money going out. Even if we are going to do what you're calling civic education, we can employ people to actually do that and pay them with this particular money, rather than holding just one person to this money and we don't know what they're doing. So the reason why Kenyans are believing with this hula baloo, and to me, I call them snobby, contemptuous, imperious, hubristic, superstitious, cocky, pretentious people who are taking advantage of what is actually happening, taking advantage of the vulnerability of Kenyans at this moment, because Kenyans are very vulnerable. Right now, Kenyans are desperate to see anyone who can come and save them. That's what Kenyans are looking. So when they see someone coming up there pretending, oh, you know what, I can help you, I know what you're suffering from, or anyone who condemns Uhuru, I don't know why I'm saying Uhuru Kenyatta, anyone who condemns Deputy, oh my God, Ruto, he becomes the darling of Kenyans, because Kenyans have lost trust in the executive. Kenyans have lost trust in our leaders. You can see how interesting someone lives who is a governor, lives his own people to come and offer pro bono services because he's saying like, I'm fighting for the rights of Kenya. No, that is bullshit. Pipita, excuse my language in your space. This is the last time I'm using this word, because that just shows you how these people, they're wrecking us, how these people are taking advantage of this carcass called Kenya. Kenya is already dead. People don't have money. And in the run of all these things, people cannot afford to go to hospital. We do not have NHIF. I don't know why even we are getting rid of NHIF, which was somehow working. We are moving, you've been transitioned to shift, but right now you go to hospital with that shift, people will be looking at you. What is shift in the first place? Because they don't know what that is, right? In the events of this, evolution of these events, our airport has been mortgaged. Now it has been left to Adani. In the evolution of this event, you're being told, we need to change the constitution to have a presidential term limit of. Not even presidential, even it goes back to the parliamentary term limit of 7 years. And I'm telling you, these things will come to haunt us desperately, because, Kenyans don't have even money. Kenyans are hopeless at this particular moment. And I want you to be very careful. People who are taking advantage of this desperate moment for Kenyans, to loot them more, to ask for money, and we cannot actually account for that money. And Pipita, you're one of the influencers. I would like you guys who are very influential people, come together. You can unify us. I want you guys to throw even one can have even 1 million Kenyans joining, and we unify these people. This is the civic responsibility the likes of Pipita can actually do for us. Come together, join us, let's have a voice of reason. And when you're looking for leaders, we need to look for people who've been tested, people who've been tried, so that we can know when you're investing in these people, and we can also call for accountability. Don't throw money when there is no accountability. That is nonsense. There is no company will give you money and not ask you to account for it, because we just don't know what we are doing, unless we are doing it out of volition to help someone without really holding them accountable. And I like what Pipita said. Once you're a leader or at any iota of evidence you declare yourself as a leader, then we have to hold you accountable, because you are taking responsibility. You are being accountable even for your followers. Excuse me. Man, I'm so much hungry. So I I think I'm ranting. I'm not even talking right now. But what I'm saying is that we need to come together, and I can say there is still hope. There is still hope. It's only that the few people we have already taken advantage of our country, and they are mutilating this country for the sake of their own gains. Can you imagine how the Senate was able to sit late in the wee hours of the night just to ensure that Gachagua goes home? I wish they could do that when we are talking about economic issues, when we are talking about the health issues that are actually ravaging us. If they could sit that late discussing these pertinent, fundamental issues that are actually affecting Kenyans, but they don't do that. They know when their interest, because this is something that was predetermined. The Gazette notice was predetermined, so they're just doing this for formality purposes. This is something that was discussed long time ago. Gachagua was alone in this. But my problem is not actually Gachagua. It is how our system are getting corrupted. It's how our systems are getting erased, and this will be a huge problem.
1 minute, Isaac.
Thank you, Pepita. Actually, I will stop there, stop ranting, and listen to other people. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. We are in that town hall session of Fridays here on Home Run. People, thanks so much for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. It is quite an honor to have you here. And I see Nyara Dwayne has raised their hand, but I'm going to let my co-host first speak. DK, what up? What am I going to do?
Nilikuwa nimeinua mkono hiyo time. I think in that moment nilikuwa nimetaka comment the thing you were mentioning about like leader kujeka place a leader. There's a time, I think early in this week, either in this space or somewhere else, I talked about two ways that people become leaders in my understanding. You're either a leader because a group of persons who believe that you share the same sentiments, beliefs, and principles select you to be their voice, to represent them in certain spaces or places or what have you. The second way is a person who renders their voice to speak on behalf of other persons who he believes that they share the same sentiments and principles, etc. Either one of the two options makes you a leader. And at the end of it all, whatever it is that you're doing, saying, acting, and behaving, your action and inaction in every situation and circumstance will always have a significant impression on those persons that have stood out to say that you represent them, or they believe that you represent the same principles or beliefs that they have. And so one of the things that I've been having, not just with that one person that we've spoken about, but the challenge that I've been having with plenty of the young persons that are coming out as leaders is not looking at the fact that you have placed yourself in a time when nobody has selected any leaders. You have raised your own voice to be heard, speaking and saying the same as those that believe in you and that are following you. So why then would you not be careful enough with what you're about to say, or even think about delivering your difference in opinion in the rightful manner and packaging it in a way that allows the persons that are listening to you or that are following you to also appreciate either your difference in opinion or to have you or to engage them in a conversation. So if, for example, you want to stand and say that I am not okay with going to a certain place that you're planning to go because of A, B, C, D, if that is your thought and your opinion, have you taken a moment to bring that opinion to persons and listen to them tell you back what they think of you or what you're saying? That's the biggest problem you're having. And in the end of the day, when people are called out or when people are told or held accountable about the words they they say, the actions they do, or whatever it is that they're engaging and delving themselves in, then suddenly someone stands up and says, you know what, shuka gari kama hausikii kukua kwa hii gari. It shows you the lack of the ability to be a leader, but all you are is just you're a mobilizer. You're just somebody who has the ability. Jamhuri, let me just land. Just give me a second, let me land. You'll get.
I was just going to say, perhaps a future dictator.
100%. I was avoiding to say the word dictator. Thank you for saying it for me. But that's what I feel. Because now all you are not a leader. You are just somebody who, I'm sorry for saying it this way, who has a mouth. And a mouth here in the sense of you have created a situation that has allowed you to speak and people are listening because of there's a circumstance you've created for yourself that has given you a mouth and people's ear to listen. But that does not make you a leader. And that is the one principle that we all have to start aligning with. Even if today my 960 something followers now start becoming 15,000 followers, does not necessarily just turn me into a leader. It is the principles and the things that I will say, I will speak, I will do, and I will show you that qualify me to be a leader. And lastly, the last speaker, I couldn't see the name, but one they talked about the problem of Kenyans is that they actually they see someone and who's talking their language, is saying he will rescue them, and they go for it. I call it, dear sir, Messiah seeking syndrome. That's what Kenyans are sick of. That we are always seated waiting for a Messiah to come and suddenly take us somewhere. And I said it jokingly the other day. We've been told by Raila Odinga jokingly that we're being taken to Canaan. I'm going to tell you straightforward. We are not being taken to Canaan by a Moses who's suddenly going to come, spin his rod up, split the sea for us, and we are suddenly on the other side. This is not a Messiah situation. We as Kenyans, we need to redeem ourselves from that. We are not here looking for somebody to save us. Save yourself. Get out and save yourself for your own self, not for anybody else. I yield.
All I can say, ladies and gentlemen, is you do not have anybody who is going to fight for you. You have to take part or just shut up. Western Shilaho, I thought you had a point of information before I go to the next speakers.
Hello, Peter.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me, Weston? Weston, I may drop to Kimuita. Naradwen.
Thank you, Pepita. I acknowledge your time is running out, and this is my last time I'm going to speak. I wanted just to laud what I think it's Isaac or Justice, somebody who was like trying to tell us that we could. Hello? Am I audible?
Yes, we can hear